They need to acknowledge that some of us, many of us, are genuinely happier and do better in the church than out of the church. But they don't like to acknowledge that.
I feel betrayed. I feel betrayed by Jubilee Media.
Isn't that interesting that you stick this in AI and AI instinctively knows that, like, LDS people are cleaner, they're more well-groomed, and then you have the lefty activist side that are all purple and pink hair. I wish people would realize that more, that there's a lot more of us who are thriving in the church than are trying to get out of it.
Not to actually hear what you were, because Tember, I don't think they saw you as an actual person.
The complete lack of curiosity. Compare that group to how your elder quorum treats you every Sunday.
Look at all of these good things that show LGBTQ people that there is a way forward for them, that there is a happy way forward, right?
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to Ward Radio. I'm your host, Cardinellis, and today I am joined via Zoom by a killer cast. We've got Jonah Barnes, the Associate Professor of all things apocryphal. We also got Brad Whitbeck and Tember Harward here to react to Tember got a little bit badgered in this Jubilee Media video that just came out. It was actually quite surprising, and it wasn't just us or me that noticed it. In fact, one of the comments we're going to be responding to here is a comment by Corey Richmond 2039 that says, "The verbal assault on Tember was atrocious. For the Exmos to talk about their happiness outside the church, then attack Tember for his was hypocritical at best. It just seemed like the Exmos don't want gay members to be happy. Them be fighting words, them be intense words. Tember, what say you, man? You were in the hot seat. Like Kwaku said, they were treating you like a traitor. I don't know. I don't want to poison the well or lead the witness. So just give us your thoughts. React to this whole thing. React to the comment. Tember Harward, go."
Well, I agree. When you have someone who is throwing a wrench into your whole theory about how gay people should feel in the church, I mean, you're going to get a little heated to shut that down. And you know, I try to give grace to the other side because I know, you know, people have their own opinions about things, and you know, there were a couple other ex-Mormon gay individuals there who have their own experience, and I respect that. But you also got to give time. You also have to consider people like me who are active, faithful members of the church who are thriving. I mean, I have my own challenges like everyone else, but I'm not the basket case gonna off myself tomorrow because I'm so miserable. Like I don't fit into their worldview. So,
okay. So, I don't know. Tell us what you thought. What'd you think of the Jubilee Media video? I mean, I just couldn't help after rewatching that because you didn't know what was going to hit the editing room floor. They recorded with us for 3 hours. I mean, they were hunting for me, obviously, and they tried to get their sound bites out of me. I've had a lot of people compliment us and say, you know, Cardin, dude, if you looked that good in the edit, I can't imagine how good it was in person. And if Tember was frustrating them that much in the edit, I can't imagine how much he frustrated them for 3 hours in person, right? So what were your thoughts, man? Do you agree with Corey Richmond 2039 that, you know, it just seems like the Exmos don't want gay members to be happy? Or do you think it's a little bit more nuanced than that? Do you feel like, you know, they rolled out the red carpet for you? Or do you think that any of you said like, hey, I raise red flags here, what's going on? I cry foul. What were your thoughts? Walk us through it. Nothing's off the table. Go.
Well, I mean, my experience flies in the face of everything that they parrot on a constant basis, that LGBT members of the church are on the verge of, that they're destined for divorce. And I think I want to give people the benefit of the doubt and think that they're saying that because they want to help us, because they want to help people avoid a miserable existence in the bigoted Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. But I hope that's the case, is that they're just trying to help people. But at the same time, I think they're discounting a whole slew of us who are honestly in the majority, who are happier in the church because of church doctrine. And that's really disconcerting that there's so many people who think we're all just miserable in the church. Like, I chose to join the church coming from gay relationships. I mean, I said that in the Jubilee thing. Like, I came into this knowing what the church doctrine was, and I chose to marry a woman because I knew that is God's standard. And I say it all the time. Yeah, I still have my challenges, but this is where I'm happiest. So, I wish people would realize that more, that there's a lot more of us who are thriving in the church than are trying to get out of it.
Well, that's one of the things I wanted to bring up, because Jonah and I, we're going to do a podcast, hopefully with you as well, and Jeff Benyon of North Star. And we've had a chance to look at some of the data that he has compiled and that the church has compiled about members of the church that are gay, and the statistics of their success are just phenomenal. Jonah, you've had a chance to see some of that data. Refresh me. Like, what are some of these simple stats about how much better off you are active in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints as a member who experiences same-sex attraction, is LGBTQIAA, whatever you want to call it? Just recite some of those stats. My mind was blown when you were telling me some of this data.
It was crazy. He said, I only just glanced at it. He was saying that the success rate for marriages, first of all, in the church, between same-sex
an individual
marriages,
who's a same-sex attracted. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
And a mixed orientation marriage, is that actually the mixed orientation marriages last twice as long. I think he said they have twice the success rate, that they have half the divorce rate. I think he was talking about
LGBTQ youth. It was wild. LGBTQ youth are more than twice more well-adjusted, have better mental health, a better sense of community, like almost every
in the church
yeah. Than they do outside. Yet the big grand narrative is about how horrible they are. And I mean, the stats speak for themselves, and I'm sure we're going to get our minds.
And where can people find those stats?
There's some great articles that are actually put up by Deseret News, who my friend Mike Goodman has done a lot of these surveys. He's written those articles, and there's other secular non-church run data that says the same thing. And this correlates to something I said in the Jubilee episode, is John Dehlin brought up this stat that, the LGBT LDS youth are committing suicide at such a high rate, and it's greater than any other cult suicides combined, or something.
I've got
like
the
that.
article right here. I was able to actually dig up an email for some research that I did. I believe it was Guest Opinion, that church and LGBT youth suicide, inaccurate claims that do more harm than good, written by Michael Goodman and Justin Dyer for the Deseret News, that is loaded with all kinds of information here. I'm going to put the link to this in the Discord.
They cite studies that aren't just religious studies. They're secular studies that are showing the same data, that people who are religious are better off. LGBT individuals are better off when they're religious in religious households than when they're not. And that's something that John Dehlin refuses to say, is that those secular LGBT individuals have a higher suicide rate than religious ones. And anecdotally, when I was out there living a secular lifestyle, mental health is rampant in the LGBT community. It's especially with secular individuals who don't have any close family, who don't
mental
have
health,
any,
mental health problems, mental health issues.
yes, mental health issues where that a lot of times that's coupled with addiction, and those two things are just a disaster and that leads into suicidality and eventually acting on it. And I saw that all the time with my gay friends.
Tember, that the studies you were talking about and anecdotally are really inconvenient for their narrative. I think the Deseret articles don't get blown up and blasted all over the internet because there's a lot of people who don't like the message that's sending, which is religion is good for you no matter what.
Well, that's the thing when I was living a secular lifestyle, I tried to commit twice. Now being in the church, I've had really tough days. Okay. I still struggle with mental illness, but I have a gospel that tells me that I have eternal worth, that Jesus Christ suffered for me because he loves me, that I can access his grace to help me overcome things. And I felt that power in my life. I didn't have that back then. And so, even though I still struggle at times, I have this infinite grace that I can access to help me overcome that. And people don't talk about that. They just anyway.
And it's not like you're in the minority. Like all of these studies show that like you're not just the holdout. You're not the 1 in a million gay LDS guy that made it. All the studies show that the majority make it. You have a majority chance of success. You have twice, sometimes 2.5% better chance at a successful relationship, successful mental health, successful physical health, so on and so forth, based off myriad studies. Okay. And you're not just some flash in the pan that happened to have made it and an outlier. You're representative of the majority, but you weren't getting treated that way. So before we just like dive into the stats and stuff like that, I want to know, like, what was your thought? Like, Brad, I'm curious to hear what you thought about how Tember was treated as a guy that wasn't there filming. Jonah, I'd like to know your impressions of what you thought about how Tember was treated. And Tember, I want to hear your opinion first, though. Like, what did anything in that video surprise you? I was surprised. I thought, holy crap, the most badgered guy on screen right now is the gay guy. You know what I'm saying? I've never seen somebody badgered by more allies in my life than you were badgered in that black box theater, dude. So like, what were your thoughts going through your head? Like, did any of it surprise you? Did you know it was coming? Because you're already a seasoned warrior.
Well, I mean, in all honesty, I get this crap all the time where you get I've done different interviews with people and I get the keyboard warriors on there who would just say that I'm destined for divorce and destined to be miserable. And I'm like, so the Jubilee interview wasn't all that different. So I was kind of expecting more or less than that, to be honest. And so when I shared my story and my experience, honestly, I haven't gone back and watched it in full length again, but I remember being in there in that discussion, talking about my experience, and then being refuted by John DeLynn with facts about how we're so much more likely to be divorced and commit suicide.
Dude, there
and
was
blah,
this
blah, blah.
segment. There was this segment where you're just talking like, well, so do you think this? And you're like, well, okay, so actually I think that. Well, and do you think this? And well, yes, but like, and then do you think this?
I cannot believe that the moderator didn't try to help you in that situation.
Yes.
That like, as you were making your point, you started an idea. And John DeLynn completely cut you off.
Yes.
Had zero interest in understanding what you were trying to say. Yeah. And then, he cut you off and then they dogpiled on you and the moderator wasn't even there.
Well, I remember when we were trying to talk about what I can't remember what it was, but we were trying to talk about what the church truly teaches about marriage. And they're like, do you believe that, was it Jen, the lesbian chick? I think that was
Jillian?
her name. I can't remember her name. It was anyway. She was the short-haired
Jillian.
lesbian chick. He said, "You think Jillian and her partner will be able to make it to the celestial kingdom? Yes or no?" And I said, "Well, I can't remember exactly what I said, but I basically said it's more complicated than that. And he's like, it's a yes or no question. And so, that's what they want to do is instead of talking about what our beliefs are and hearing us out, it has to be they have to parrot their talking points.
If you want to know what bigoted cops in the 60s sounded like grilling the Stonewall protesters in New York City, it's like, it's a yes or no question. Did you have relationship? Did you do it with that man in the apartment that day? That's against the law. Yes or no question. It was like, geez, man.
So the thing that stood out to me on this was like, they didn't seem like they were there to try to understand any of you guys. They were there to score internet points. And if they could get a slam dunk of a short soundbite phrase out there, that's what they wanted. Not to actually hear what you were. Because, Tember, I don't think they saw you as an actual person in the exchanges that I saw in those edits. I think they saw you as like this target, that if I hit this target right, I score the internet points. And it's really sad to see that, and hopefully the whole conversation wasn't that way. But man.
Well, okay. Well, let me say this. I'm going to add the caveat that I don't think they were all like that. There was what's his name?
Dylan, the guy across.
Oh my gosh, Dylan.
Yeah,
Dylan, and then there was the other chick in the colorful sweater.
Yeah, the Taylor Swift groupie.
I feel like even though they got passionate in their own way, and we're allowed to be passionate, right? They were pretty respectful. In fact, I had a conversation with Dylan in private after this, and I won't get into the details of that, but it was a really respectful conversation.
Oh, good.
And basically we acknowledge that, hey, although we disagree on what we believe and what the truth is and what's best for people in our community, we still respect each other and we want the best for each other. And that's what I was hoping to see a lot more of. And so I really love that we were able to have that off air, so to speak, to come to that realization. That's what we need more of in our community is even though we should be able to vehemently disagree and critique each other's ideas, but still respect each other's what's making us happiest. Mm-hmm. Even though we have a different perception about what's going to make us ultimately happy and what's going to bring us eternal joy, we can respect each other's agency, right? So, anyway.
Wow. All right.
My impression was that you guys came off as far nicer people. As far more respectful people, as far more well-adjusted emotionally people, well-adjusted people. I don't think this is a very good time right now for John Dehlin. I think he's having a hard time these days because he's surveying people.
Well, in all fairness to John, that was his co-host. See, I actually view it differently, and if John Dehlin is like Donald Trump. He takes over every conversation as people try and critique for and against him, but it's actually not John. John he's a product of the hive mind, not the prophet of the hive mind. We have to remember that.
Okay, well,
and it was his two hosts.
It was agree to disagree.
No, yes. I mean, it's look. Does society affect art? Does art affect society? There's a symbiosis there. I get that, but I'm saying that was his two co-hosts that went out and did it. And I think that by going after John, we're diverting responsibility from the co-hosts. It was Cara Burrell. It was Cara Burrell and Gerardo, and John Dehlin said on Reddit, "I didn't know this was happening," which would kind of insinuate he understood it was wrong, or at least that the optics were bad. And I'm not a John Dehlin apologist by any means, but I do believe in giving credit where credit is due and blame where blame is due. And we cannot overlook that was an episode that Gerardo guy produced. And if he's going to stand on the graves of all of the gay people that he says he's trying to protect that have committed, as and say that he's a big proud warrior for the LGBTQ community, and then literally go out and do things that if you and I did would be considered absolute abject religious oppression, then there's a big question the community has to ask itself. And they're all lambasting John when I feel they should be lambasting Gerardo and Nuanceau, who literally showed up. I get if you want to, verify, But you need to make a choice. Are we either going to say this is off limits and it's surveillance, or verification and talking about it in public is okay? But we need to choose which lane we're going to stick in, and they have to say what lane they want, and what the community wants. And I feel like we're misplacing the blame here.
Oh well. To get
I
back
agree
to
with you, by the way, that you should be blaming Gerardo and Kara, but John still posted it, dude. Like, it's his channel.
And that's what people had an issue with. And we can talk about that more in depth because I completely disagree. But the issue at hand was John DeLynn turning and lecturing Tember and throwing him against a wall like he was the school principal in Back to the Future or something. You slacker. And trying to berate Tember about that. Not a good look. Not a good look from the guy who's supposedly devoting his life to helping people, individuals, with SSA to be doing that. What I found most appalling is the complete lack, like Brad alluded to, the complete lack of curiosity. No one turned and said, how did you do it? How did you do it? I couldn't do it. Or I went a different path. Like, what a curious thing. What an amazing thing. There was not a semblance of sincerity or curiosity at all. I think Tember, you have an amazing story, and they had zero interest in that story.
And I would even say, go ahead, Tember.
Go ahead, Brad.
I was just going to say, I would even say that it felt like they treated you like they knew everything you had experienced.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Yeah. At least from Jillian and John DeLynn's perspective, not the other two.
In a condescending way, almost as if like, oh, little child. Someday you'll learn what we learned.
Well, I think it was worse than that. Quaker said it really well. It's like, you were the traitor that was about to give Russia the nuclear codes. And if they didn't stop you from going out that door where the Russian agent was, then it meant nuclear fallout over Los Angeles. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, whoa, man, like, holy smoke. And it looked worse in the edit than it did in person. You know what I'm saying? Like, with the dramatic scope lighting and the close-up imaging, and you just going like, well, no. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, that's not what I'm trying to say. Oh, and then another attack from over there. It was literally like I was watching one of those melee fighters that does like, the reenactments of like medieval sword fights, and stuff like that. It was crazy, man.
Compare that group to how your Elders Quorum treats you every Sunday at Tember, which is more welcoming.
Well, of course, my Elders Quorum.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the thing is I am the Uncle Tom of the LGBT community. Like I'm the one who is supporting the cisgender white patriarchy of the church, at least in their minds. And so I think I like to give the benefit of the doubt, and I think in their minds I'm probably doing more damage with my message than good, and so they're trying to refute it.
But the stats are in your favor, dude.
Well, yes, they are. But that's the thing is John DeLynn. Me and my buddy Jeff Benyon, who we referenced earlier, he's talked about this frequently with me about this study that John DeLynn did. That the way he conducted the study was from a pool of a bunch of people who basically think the same, and so he got these bad answers on the study, and so he concludes from that study that the fate of all LGBT members of the church is this because of this study I did, but it's a faulty study. But when you look at the facts from, for instance, there's this other study called the 4 Options study that was done by Tyler Mansfield, who's a faithful same-sex attracted member of the church who's married to a woman, and he paired with another guy named Tyler Lefevre, who is an ex-Mormon, gay ex-Mormon married to a guy, and very much pro-LGBT. They paired together and did a study where it's a lot more well-rounded, and they found facts that totally refute what John DeLynn said, and they had a bigger pool that they pulled from of participants. So I think in his mind, he's doing what's best for the marginalized LGBT members, but he's just going off of faulty data.
And look how he treats them in person. Right?
Well, that's
that
the thing is
interaction with you is like, geez, like you were an object, like you were just, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a difficult image. Like that's a difficult narrative to support when in person you're treated as an enemy combatant. Like if he were a real ally, he would see a gay person and be like, okay, well, there's somebody I have to, engage in allyship with. But I mean, you were just like literally every question. The other thing was, it was wild. Like you were responsible for every doctrinal flaw that they thought they had in their minds for a solid 3 minutes straight there. I mean, it was nuts. And I would say you defended yourself well had you been able to get to the end of your sentence. But just by virtue of the fact you survived, I think you're a freaking warrior. And one of the best parts of that whole entire interaction, I mean, you were sacrificed at the altar of wokeism there. Sorry, bro, that you had to go through that. But the memes that are coming out of this, bro, are absolutely hilarious. Jonah, you sent me a couple of text messages of some really funny AI art that people have been making and putting into the Discord. With that said, shout out for the Ward Radio Discord. If you guys are interested in joining our Discord, we literally have hundreds of people on at any given moment, this Discord, sharing all kinds of everything from a prayer roll to a temple prep class to testimonies to mission stories to funny memes to reactions to our videos. It's really awesome. Can we jump into the memes, or do you got something you still got to say there, Tember? Do you got something you still got to say, or can we jump into these memes, man?
Well, can I just really quick say, you got lambasted there real quick with your comparison of leukemia and your challenge with same-sex attraction, and I just have to say, I think it's really sad that people don't try to see what you were saying.
Yeah, we were talking about faith crisis, and they edited out the first half of my analogy.
Yeah, exactly. It's we're talking about two challenges and saying that we all have our own challenges.
Yes.
Mine's is SSA, his is leukemia, and they're different, but anyway, it's just and then people, I just really hate it how they take something like that and make it out to be oh, what you're saying, same-sex attraction is cancer. I'm oh my gosh.
Yeah. And to me, it comes back to if you're not listening to understand one another, you're never really going to know what the other side's trying to say.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And with the gist of this conversation, I feel what a hopeful message that, hey, look at all of these good things that show LGBTQ people that there is a way forward for them, that there is a happy way forward, right? If that's true, why not explore that? If the goal is to have as many LGBTQ people find happiness as possible, right? Why not let them explore those avenues?
Well, that's the issue here. I'll say this too, is they need to acknowledge that many of us are genuinely happier and do better in the church than out of the church. But they don't like to acknowledge that. They like to try and tell us that you're going to be miserable, you're going to end up dying and suffering with horrible mental health issues because you're in the church, so you need to leave.
Which ironically is exactly what they complain of members treating them like, right? When they leave.
Well, it takes away our agency. It takes away our autonomy. And that's the thing, is they tout over and over again that we're as mental health professionals, we're all about the autonomy of the individual to choose what's best for them.
Yeah.
Well, I'm choosing. And what's best for me is staying close to my Savior in the gospel. Okay? I was worse off living the life that you want me to live. So, I don't know. It's just frustrating.
Okay.
Yeah. Be good.
Can we jump into the memes? Because these are freaking hilarious, man.
These
Jonah,
are so good.
You've picked a bunch of them. Can you see these, Brad? Or
where are they?
They're in the Discord. They're in the host Discord, not the community Discord. But we're gonna have to throw these into the no. We got them from the community Discord.
We got them from the community Discord. This is Andreas Sirtus, who is one of our AI buddies. Threw these in there. And they are glorious.
Okay, look
so
at
he
this.
asked AI what AI thought of the Jubilee media video. And so what we think is irrelevant, okay? We're just meat popsicles, okay? AI knows the truth, and it's going to reveal it here for you guys how it really went down. And these are some of the images,
Dude,
Carden, if you want to pull
this
those up.
first one was savage, dude. Look at that.
Is the guy in the hoodie Fred Flintstone? Like what?
It looks kind of like Fred Flintstone, doesn't it?
Look, all of us said,
I don't see anything, you guys.
okay. Oh, okay. We can't, it's you. Are you in the host Discord, Tember?
No, I'm not. I don't have access to it.
Oh gosh.
Oh.
You gotta-
Let's
you
see
gotta
if we can share
brother.
a screen.
Can you share
here.
the screen?
Oh no, but it's not going to show the Discord here. Tember, are you in the Discord? The
Yeah.
host Discord? Look in the host Discord. Jonah just put them up. There's the first one. All right.
Wait, is it
I
an
think-
AI?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Dude, you see that? Okay, so click on the first one, bro. Click on the first one.
Is that me with the dark hair, like kind of?
No,
and
I
there's like a little
think
short.
I think they're saying that's me versus John DeLynn.
Yeah, that's you versus John
Yeah.
Lynn. There's like 5 of them that are
So
one,
like,
two, three, 4 that are Carden versus John DeLynn.
yeah. So
Is it the one with Dylan in the hoodie, and I'm kind of like have my fingers crossed and like?
yeah,
No, you, Timber, are actually the last one, the most recent one that was put in the Discord. You're not talking to anybody. You're just standing like a glorious Chad with your hands in your pockets.
yeah. This one is
with
the one
like
that,
with like a colorful tie.
yeah, with
Yes.
the rainbow
And
tie.
a very
What?
slicked back hair.
Wow.
Yeah, dude.
That's what AI thinks of you, dude. I don't know if you're that cut underneath, but AI thinks you are Arnold Schwarzenegger.
By the way,
Hey, I'll take it. Definitely not.
dude, don't you just love how
Look like
look
a
at
WWE wrestler.
look at how they made all the audience members. Like you could tell AI art is weird because look, there's like 3 legs on the guy to the right, but they
Oh
gave
gosh, yeah.
they
Oh yeah.
they literally gave everybody purple or pink hair. Like I guess the algorithms just knew we were dealing with raging woke scolds and like blue-haired feminists because they were just like they just put you as like the clean-cut alpha missionary Chad with a name tag. Like how hilarious is that? And then here's
That's
some other ones that I
hilarious.
thought were funny. There's Kwaku. They made Kwaku.
Look at his
Oh
sweet
my gosh, that
mustache.
mustache.
Oh,
And
dude.
I love that 90s hip hop hair.
Oh, dude.
So great.
That is pretty funny. Okay, I'm going backwards
man.
now. I don't know what this one was. Don't tell me that's what they did with the short-haired girl in the green shirt. What did you say her name was?
The SED drink.
Oh man, yeah. And then
She's like a
oh
a diet-
dude.
That doesn't look like anybody.
Oh.
Oh, I think that's what they were doing to the girl in the green jacket, the lesbian that was going after
Oh,
Kwaku
come
as a
on,
gay
that's-
man.
That's you.
I
That's
think,
you, Timber.
well, she was the only short-haired female on the entire panel, and she was also placed on the right of the screen in that second when they were badgering Tember. And so if you're AI and you're trying to pull characters, she's in the position that that I'd hate to wish that AI art upon her. You know what I'm saying? But man, AI
Yeah, but
is
you
a
got
savage.
to check out the next one, which
Oh,
is now Carden
dude.
versus DeLynn.
Oh,
This is-
no.
What is that Frankenstein monster?
This is the Sandman meets The Cure meets Kiss meets Marilyn Manson here.
Oh my
By the way, why
God.
does AI
What prompt did they put in for these?
why does AI give the missionary name tag a 27? Look at that. It gives the missionary name tag a 27. And then I don't know what that is on the cheek. Look at the bottom right, the cheek of the multicolored
Yeah.
purpled hair guy. He's got like a sticker on his cheek,
Yeah.
you know? So that
No,
is
it's a big gauge. It's a big gauge. That's what
Oh.
it is.
Oh, gross.
Oh
A
yeah, he
cheek
does have a
gauge.
little. He does have a little cheek.
yeah, he's got like a
Okay,
sticker
okay.
on
Yeah,
his cheek.
never mind.
Okay, you got to move up to the next one here, which is the most accurate portrayal of John
Oh,
DeLynn and
oh my
Carden.
God.
Oh no.
Oh,
This aggressively like dirty homeless man.
Oh
Like, what the
no.
heck?
Oh no. AI
Carden,
just
Carden, you are this. You're this strapping young missionary You look
may
like
be?
you're 18 years old. in that
dude.
picture.
Now what's the I'm gonna zoom in. What does the oh, you can't tell what the name tag says. It doesn't say anything. It's just a bunch of fuzzy nonsense.
The semblance of some words, yeah.
Why is
the
John
Deseret
DeLynn
language.
Why is John DeLynn so dirty?
I know.
I don't know. Like, did they say like a missionary debating a homeless man? Like, what was the prompt?
I no. The prompt apparently was make individual pictures based upon the Jubilee media. I think that was the prompt, right?
Yeah.
And so
Oh,
I
wow.
think it's because of the hoodie he was wearing. Like when he came in, it did surprise me. I was like, bro, it's like you're going to be on national TV and you're in a hoodie. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's kind of like the John Fetterman thing. We jokingly called it the John Fetterman.
Isn't that
thing.
interesting that you stick this in AI and AI instinctively knows that like LDS people are cleaner, they're more well groomed, and then you have the lefty activist side that are all purple and pink hair with like gauges, like kind of sad.
Has the right wing made enough before and after art school memes where just like when AI is scanning the internet to try and figure out how do you do a left versus right debate? How do you do a pro-Mormon versus anti-Mormon debate? And what do? Just scan all of ex-Mormon TikTok and find enough purple-haired, thick gauge dudes? Because look, every single one of the people on the side of anti-Mormon was represented by AI as blue-haired, pink-haired with thick earring gauges, which is kind of, it's sadly, but that's like a Utah anti-Mormon thing where it's like they're so desperate to show that they're not Mormon. They go to these wild, great lengths to get like really untasteful patchwork tattoos where you're just like, bro, was that done in prison with like a rusty old sewing needle you found in like, you found while you're doing janitorial duty in the storage room or what, man? So
well, that's what you do when you leave behind religion, like Christianity, is you want to go as far away from that as possible. I know that's what I did when I rebelled. I got like snake bites. I wanted to get the gauges. I got a tattoo. Like I wanted to do every little thing that I was told not to do in church. I'm going to do it. And
this was my favorite one.
Yeah.
This was my favorite one where, they made them look like the Flintstones. And so I don't know who they were representing here. I've got dark hair. You've got kind of blondish hair.
The black hair guys are you, Cardin. The brown haired ones are Tember.
Okay, interesting.
And you might not know this, but the black man with the flat top and the mustache is actually Kwaku.
Yeah, that one was.
Imagine that.
I know. It's crazy, right?
I wouldn't have thought that.
Oh man, dude, I could not believe he looks like almost Persian Arab chic with the mustache.
He looks more like Indian, like Indian mustaches they get. Yeah.
And then like 1990s hip hop.
Yes.
Like there was literally a guy that used to dance in Universal City Walk that had that exact same hairdo. And I thought that was funny. And it looks almost like a gun holster that he's got on his right hip. Is that just me or is there a gun
I
holster
don't see
also?
that.
Yeah, it looks almost like a holster.
Almost,
or maybe it's just a shadow. So anyway, all right. Well, yeah, like the internet has spoken.
AI doesn't lie. AI doesn't lie, people.
Yeah, it I wouldn't say distorts the truth. It does interesting things trying to represent it for sure. So, any last thoughts, Tember, man? Any last thoughts that you just thunk that you haven't had a chance to get out of your system, my man?
I don't know. Maybe just to reiterate, if you really respect people's autonomy and their agency, allow them to choose whatever makes them happy. And we may disagree with that option, but we also have to respect that and allow it. And rather than telling them how they should feel, and yeah, I think that's just what it comes down to.
And Brad, I got to tell you, I love having you on these past two podcasts. You're like my watchdog, dude. You're like angrier than I am, and I'm loving it. It's like therapeutic. It's like, yeah, they have mistreated me. Yeah, you're right, dog.
I feel betrayed. I feel betrayed by Jubilee Media because, like, I don't know. In my interview talking with them, it felt like they were going to try to really do their part to make it actually seeking for a middle ground, and I just felt let down.
Yeah, I understand that. And one of my frustrations was I had said, look, I'll be honest with you. They were having a lot of trouble trying to find females to be represented. I said, well, first off, there's some natural barriers. Like a lot of very active members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are mothers, and it's difficult. Like, your wife is in her third trimester. She's not just going to drive down to LA in a 10-hour drive comfortably while she's holding 2 babies in the back seat and then one in her belly, right? That's just not an easy thing to pull off. So there's a natural barrier there, but also there's a very difficult social barrier. Like these women know exactly how they're going to get treated by these harpies, these screeching, anti-Mormons that are absolutely vicious, because we've been through this before. And I had told them, I said, look, one of the things I want you to guarantee me is either a copy of the recording, or you allow me to show up with my own camera that will record the whole entire thing. So if I'm ever taken out of context, I can defend myself online afterwards. And they said, look, we don't allow recording. We don't want anything in there that might spoil the production. And I'm a Hollywood guy, so I'm very respectful of that NDA, right? But I only did it under the verbal agreement. And I said, I'm trusting you as a producer, I'm trusting you here, that the entirety of the 3 hours would be put on Patreon. And they've got some extended clips, and they've got that, feeder clip that they said, is the M word sinful, and so on and so forth. That's bonus material to get people to go on Patreon and so on and so forth. But that
was such a dumb prompt.
Yeah, sorry. It was. But I have
so yet. Dumb. Well, all of the prompts were like net negative for anyone in the church. Like, sure, start off with, is the church a cult? That's a really good one to get out of the way. But like, why not ask a difficult question for the people who have left?
Like,
nobody would that be so hard?
Yeah, it's not like one of the prompts was, wow, leaving actually statistically demotes your mental health, and there's measurable quantifiers to prove it. It's like,
and I don't even think they would need to go that far.
Yeah.
Like even anything that would have been marginally difficult for them, like, or just something that's an engaging question that gets them thinking about, like, gets them in an understanding mindset,
Yeah, exactly. So I got to tell you, I'm glad that you are able to articulate so well why you felt betrayed, because maybe I'm just so used to uphill battles that when I think, oh wow, this was only a 15% grade, I'm used to a 30% grade uphill battle. It's nice to have reminders that no, that was still a 15% grade uphill battle, right? And so, yeah, I've never been given the full 3 hours, so I feel like I could successfully defend myself against this idea that we were couching my comments in faith crisis. Now, what's interesting is everybody that I've talked to said like, oh yeah, no, we could totally tell you're taken out of context. Like, even people that are ex-Mormon, not anti-Mormon, but ex-Mormons that I talk to that like have very drastically different opinions on me than me on LGBTQ issues were like, oh yeah, I could totally tell you weren't referencing this as a pejorative. And yeah, it was very staccato. I could tell you were heavily edited. So Gen Z, the younger the people get, the more they're used to people getting taken out of context when talking about sensitive ideas, which is a betrayal to the idea of middle ground. So I can see why people were a little bit frustrated. But anyway, Jonah,
I just want to say that when you're out bearing your testimony in public in a place like that, 11 of Noah's priests are going to say burn them. That's just how it's always going to be. Yeah. But there could be one person who's going to say, that Tember guy was really nice and really kind, and he testified to Jesus Christ. And, there's going to be one guy who's going to say, boy, those people were jerks. I really like those guys. I mean, that day you didn't even post a video card, and I think you gained 100 subs that day.
Oh, geez. A whole 100 subs for being the face for 24 hours of Mormon bigotry. That was great. But who's the face now? You know who's the face now? Tember. Tember, did you see you're on the thumbnail now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, bro. And it's you, and it's a showdown with, I thought her name was
Jillian. I think that one's better.
Yeah.
Like, and they at least changed the title with it too. Yeah.
Yeah. That was
being a voice for the church is never going to be cool. It's never going to be easy. You were in the lion's den. And you both stood up and you just said the truth.
Dude, Tember's a rock star. Not me, dude. Yeah. Tember is a rock star, bro.
I don't know about that.
I thought you did awesome. I thought they were just, I don't know. I'm super biased, but I thought they were vicious and took you way out of context and were super mean. And I thought you did a great job.
I think the one who was most vitriolic was Jillian. I can never remember her name. The lesbian chick, but she's just been out of the church for a year. I remember I went through my angry phase against Christianity. She's going through hers, so I get it. But yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, dude, where can people find you if they want to reach out and they want to know a little bit more about you and your organization and what you got going on? Where can they find you, bro?
Contact me at beaconssa@gmail.com or visit my website at beaconSSAministry.org. I also write a blog on there you can read. I tackle a lot of sensitive topics surrounding the LGBT issue, and I go into a lot of depth in those. So if you want some facts as to about what the doctrine actually says, what the church actually teaches, in a compassionate and loving way, check me out.
All right, awesome. Well, as always, guys, this has been real and it's been fun, and it's been real fun. For this and more, please check us out at wardradio.com.
I ain't trying to bring you down, but for real, you might as well give up now. Think you got a chance, but I don't see how. Got a real tight grip when I hold that crown. My life been good and bad and all around. The more things I lost, the more I found. One thing I taught myself to do, no matter the problem, refuse to lose. So, how you want it, man, you can choose. If you can't take the heat, don't light the fuse. See, I walk in slow and ignite the room. Like fire, everything I touch, I consume. I'm getting up while y'all just snooze. While you make breakfast, man, I'm on the move. I'm the first one in and the last one out. Whoever owns the place gotta drag me out. In me I trust, yeah, I smell like success. This Elon Musk, huh? Everybody wanna be like us. We don't stop, cause the top just ain't enough.